Today in Algebra 2 we talked about polynomials. Standard form is when the polynomial is written in order from largest exponent to smallest. An example of that is 3x squared plus 2x plus 8. Our exponents are in order from biggest to smallest. The next vocabulary we have is leading coefficient. Remember, the word coefficient means the number in front, so leading coefficient is the number in the very front when written in standard form. So in our example, 3x squared plus 2x plus 8, the leading coefficient is 3. Degree, and this definition is wrong on the notes, is the greatest exponent. So in our example, 3x squared plus 2x plus 8, the degree is 2. We also name polynomials, and we name all polynomials in two ways, by the degree and by the number of terms. So when the degree is 0, it's called constant. And an example of a degree of 0 and a constant is the number 4. The number 5 is a constant, 6 is a constant, 7 is a constant, negative 28 is a constant. Anything that doesn't have a variable and an exponent. Degree of 1 is linear. An example of linear is x. Degree of 2 is quadratic. And that's x squared. Degree of 3 is cubic. And that's x cubed. Degree of 4 is quartic. And that's x to the 4th. Degree of 5 is quintic. And that's x to the 5th. When we get to 6 or more, there are no more names. We just say 6th degree, 7th degree, 8th degree, and so on. And so it's x to the 6th, x to the 7th, and so on. We also name polynomials based on the number of terms. When there's one term, it's a monomial, like x squared. 2 terms is a binomial, like x squared plus 2x. 3 terms is a trinomial, like x squared plus 2x minus 3. 4 or more terms is called a polynomial. So we're going to take all that information and fill in this chart. So our polynomial is 3x squared plus x to the 4th minus 2. And the first thing we're going to do is put it in standard form. Remember, standard form means highest exponent. So the highest exponent here is 4, so x to the 4th. Then next will be that 3x squared. And last, minus 2. Our leading coefficient is the number in the very front. So in the very front, we have x to the 4th, and the coefficient of that is 1. The degree is the largest exponent, and that's 4. Number of terms is the number of things there are. There's 1, 2, 3. Now for the name, our degree is 4. So we look back at our chart. Degree of 4 means quartic. Number of terms is 3. So we look back at our chart. So that means it's a trinomial. So x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 2 is a quartic trinomial. Our second problem, 3x to the 3rd minus x to the 5th plus 4x minus 1, in standard form would be negative x to the 5th plus 3x to the 3rd plus 4x minus 1. Our leading coefficient is the number in the very front. Go back to standard form. The number in the very front is negative 1. Degree is the largest exponent, so 5. The number of terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for our name, degree is 5, so look back at our chart, so it's quintic. 4 terms, look back at our chart, means it's a polynomial, so it's a quintic polynomial. Our next topic is adding and subtracting polynomials. And this is a review. It's like terms. And you do the distributive property on subtracting problems. So problem number 1, 2x cubed plus 9 minus x plus 5x squared plus 4 plus 7x plus x cubed. we're going to put our answer in standard form. So that means start with the biggest exponent. So that's the 3's. 2x cubed plus x cubed makes 3x cubed. The next one would be this 5x squared. There's nothing else with it. There's no other x squared, so we just write it down. And then next we go to our x's. Negative x plus 7x. Negative x plus 7x would be plus 6x. Then we have plus 9 plus 4 makes plus 13. So number 2, we work the same way. Start with the biggest exponent. In this case, our biggest exponent is 16x to the third. There's no other x to the third, so we write that down. Then we go to our x squared. So negative 36x squared plus 6x squared is negative 30x squared. Then we go to our x's. All we have is plus 6x, so we write that down. And then our numbers, negative 11 and negative 5 makes negative 16. Remember, it needs to be in standard form, so biggest exponent and goes in order. Now number 3 is a subtracting problem, so we have to do that a little bit different. You have to put the 1 there and distribute it. So negative 1 times 15x squared is negative 15x squared. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Then we do our like terms the way we did on number 1 and 2. Start with the biggest exponent. That's 5x to the third. Then we go to our x squared. 6x squared and negative 15x squared makes negative 9x squared. Then our x's. All we have is negative 3x. And last, our constants. 12 and 2 makes 14. Problem number 4 is a subtraction again. So we put the negative sign, or we put the negative 1 there, and we distribute it. Negative x to the 6th minus 6 plus x. Then we put our like terms together, starting with the biggest exponent, which is this negative x to the 6th. The next term would be the negative 2x squared. And again, there's nothing to put with it, so we just write it down. Then our x's plus x, and then our constants. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Now our last section, we have to graph these polynomials and identify the number of real zeros. The number of real zeros means the number of times the graph touches the x-axis. So the number of real zeros is the number of times the graph touches the x-axis. In order to graph this, we have to use the calculator. So we turn it on, we go to y equals. Remember, f of x is just like y equals. So I'm going to clear out what's in there. 2x to the 5th, so 2x. To get to the 5th power, I use the key above the divide, the little caret key. Push that to the 5th power minus 3x. Now I just hit graph. I'm going to sketch this graph on my paper. And you're just drawing a rough sketch. And then you count. How many times does it touch the x-axis? 1, 2, 3. So that means there are 3 real roots for this problem. Our graph and the number of times it touches is our answer. So let's look at number 2. 6x to the 4th plus x squared minus 5x plus 1. I'm going to go into y equals. I'm going to type that in. 6x to the 4th plus x squared minus 5x plus 1. Remember, to get to the 4th power, you use the caret key. It's right above divide. Press graph. Draw a sketch of it. And count how many times does it touch the x-axis. It looks like twice. Your assignment for this day is a worksheet. It's very similar. For those of you that were absent, it will be absent work folders on the bulletin board.